Hi and welcome back to Bride Society. I'm Laura and this is Rebecca.
So today we're here to talk to you about small weddings. So we've previously done a video called something like the pros and perks of small weddings. So if you're considering whether to have one or not, that's a great video to watch, and we will link it in the description box below if you want to check it out. So those are the reasons why it's great to have a small wedding, of which there are many, but today we're focusing more on specific ways to make it that extra bit special, and so things that you maybe could or would be harder to achieve with a larger scale wedding.
So first of all, you might want to make a full weekend of it, and because there's only a few of you, you could hire either a venue or maybe a large house and all stay in the same place, so you're all together all weekend enjoying each other's company, so you can spend more time with kind of your loved ones and just so happen to have a wedding as part of that. Get married. Yeah.
Yes, less of a rule book with small weddings. Yeah. And it opens up some other possible venues. So you could hire a small house or a large house, depending on what you mean by house. A boat, like maybe a boutique hotel, go to a spa or a restaurant, pub, like some of the sort of less traditional venues, and maybe they're not even ones that have a wedding license, but you could still create your wedding there and your celebrations there and do the legal bit separately, and so that way it just gives you that a lot bit more flexibility and choice of venues that might be more special and meaningful to the two of you as well.
And with a small wedding, there's maybe scope to make some activities that all of you can be involved with, either be that on the wedding day itself or if you are having a larger, like, weekend long celebration. So you can plan activities for everyone. I mean, non-traditional ones like maybe a murder mystery with a wedding theme, escape room, things like that. So yeah, just different ways that you can, if you as a couple enjoy doing specific activities, you can then include all the guests you've got at your wedding.
Right. Create a golf course. Like,
why not? Just have some fun with your guests.
Yeah. And thinking about the actual ceremony, or maybe also the dining part, but more intimate seating. So whether that be sort of comfy, cozy chairs, you're almost in like a Starbucks or something, or maybe planning my own another next wedding in that. But yeah, and both in terms of the actual seating, and say comfy chairs or hay bales or throws, like rugs or cushions, all these kind of thing, or also in terms of the layout. So they could be arranged in a circle, semicircle. You can really mix it up and play with those things, which I say would be harder to do with a huge mass of people where you maybe need them to sort of file in nice neat rows. And yeah, I say in terms of the dining element, it could be, you could have one long table for you all. You have sort of family style dining, or even potluck dinner, depending on kind of the vibe and style you want to go for. Yeah.
And if you're maybe having your celebrations at maybe like a restaurant or a pub, something like that, if there aren't as many of you, there might be more menu option choices. So traditionally, if you're having a large wedding and you're having like a sit down meal after the ceremony, you'd have to you'd either pick maybe one or maybe two main courses, and everybody has those. There's not much choice. But if there's only a handful of you or a small number of you, you might just be able to pick off a menu, or you might have a larger selection that they can pick on the day, so there's more flexibility and maybe a bit more choice for your guests.
And maybe you do away with the concept of having a bridal party or wedding party, whatever you want to call it, because essentially if it's that smaller wedding, maybe your entire wedding is your bridal party, right? Like there, and maybe instead of giving traditional bridesmaids, groomsmen, whatever kind of roles, you can maybe find ways to personally include all of those individual guests and giving them some kind of role or involvement in the day, so they become an integral part of making your wedding that special day, and everyone's like included, and it's a much more, it's quite like an enriching experience. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah. So whether that be people like reading things or writing a poem, like actually announcing you as husband and wife or whatever combination, things like that. There's lots of little jobs or big jobs, varying size, that you can really get people involved. And I feel like people want to be involved, particularly if it's a small wedding. So they're probably people who are much closer to you and your partner as well. So yeah, I think people will be really keen to do that. I think both on both sides that works nicely.
And in the same vein, the speeches. So again, traditionally you'd maybe have 2, maybe 3 speeches. But if there's a small amount of guests, you could open it up to everyone. And as you were just saying, that the people you've got there are probably the ones you're really close to. So they might want to say some words, it doesn't have to be very long, just to you as a couple. So it doesn't, if there aren't that many of you, it won't mean you're taking up your entire day with everyone lining up to give you a
yes, it can go on.
So. Yeah. So even if there are a small number of you, maybe still limit guest speeches, I think.
And pets. So we recently also did a video on pets at weddings and how to include them, whether physically or in some other form. So again, we'll link that below and you can check that out. But in terms of small weddings specifically, one of the things we noted in that video was that obviously large crowds can be a problem if you're trying to include your pet at your wedding, possibly. So if it's a smaller wedding, a smaller group of people where maybe that pet knows and is familiar and comfortable with, then that group of people, it might be more possible and feasible to have your pet there in some form during the day. So that's maybe something to consider.
And with smaller numbers, maybe means you have a bit more time to focus on like the little things you would do for each guest. So that could be writing each guest an individual thank you note in advance of the wedding day to put on there. If you're having seating at the assigned seating for the reception, for your meal, then it could be there on their place setting for them. Just a little, it doesn't have to be very long, just a little note, again, just to say thank you for coming, and maybe a personal detail, to maybe a memory shared about them, so something personal to them. So again, it's making everyone feel that little bit extra special.
Yeah. And that also feeds into our next one, which is you could maybe even go as far as to personalise favours to the individual guests, if you're doing favours, that is. But again, with a smaller group of people, like this would be a nightmare if you had like 150 guests. But with a smaller group, you probably know much better their individual tastes, what they would appreciate, what kind of thing between you would make it that day memorable for them to hold on to afterwards, that kind of thing. So you could go as far as personalising for each individual guest, or you could also do maybe sort of thank you goodie bags, so maybe like a little collection of things for them to take away, kind of like when you go to a kid's birthday party, you get a goodie bag, a party bag to take away at the end. Like, why is that just for kids?
I don't know. And it works the same because there's still cake, so a slice of cake in there. Yeah,
that's the main. Yeah. So yes, they're just some of the things that we thought up to try and help you make your small wedding even like extra special. So we hope that's helped spark some thoughts. Any other ideas, do drop them in the comments below and help out other viewers that might be watching. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Please like the video if you liked it. Hit subscribe if you're interested to see more content like this, because we're here every Friday.